Hello and welcome to the first episode of Beanies In A Pod cast. I'm your host, Phil. I'm also here with Daniel and Aaron. Say hello.
Hello.
Right, so I suppose the first question is, what's a beanie? We've all got it on our hoodies, our t-shirts. But what is a beanie?
Tell
What
us.
are they? What do they do? Where do they live?
Like Wombles.
Yeah, exactly. Do
Less rare.
Do Wombles live on the moon?
Wimbledon.
Ah, okay. I'm thinking of something else, I think.
The Wombles live in Wimbledon?
Yeah. You never heard of the Wombles of Wimbledon?
No, I thought they were from the moon as well.
No, I'm thinking of clangers. Clangers are from the moon.
Close.
Do
yeah.
they?
The Wombles are in Wimbledon. They womble in free.
Wombles, Womble in
Wombles.
Wimbledon.
The Wombles of Wimbledon, wombling free. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, beanies.
Beanies.
Back to beanies. So beanies is short for bean counters.
It is.
Yeah.
And we don't mean it in a derogatory, horrible way. We mean it in the most loving way possible.
Yeah, we do. It's an affectionate term for an affectionate bunch of people.
Accountants.
Yes.
And bookkeepers.
Bookkeepers.
Yes.
Let's not forget the bookkeepers.
Yes. I used to be one.
I almost became one.
An affectionate person.
Both. I gave up the first part though. I was abandoned that. I was never going to be that. Affectionate, that is. no, I was an accountant for once, for a time, and then I turned to the light.
Accountancy profession is a great profession for anyone out there. We're not slagging it off.
No. There are fantastic career paths and options go down. It's very exciting.
There are. Were you working down the practice route?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so you're in a practice firm.
Yeah, 9 months in practice and then that was it. No, thank you. Get me out of here. That's just me.
Mm.
Couldn't hack it.
It's not for everyone.
Yeah,
It's
you're
not
just
for everyone.
not strong enough, Phil.
Not
You're
strong enough.
Weak.
Okay.
Weak of mind.
Ooh.
It's okay. I'm editing this, so that's not going in.
Damn well is.
Yeah, so that's what a beanie is. But beanies is actually our community. The community that we are currently creating, that's currently created
Created.
By
Um,
beanies.
by beanies. By beanies.
For
For
beanies.
beanies.
With
beanies. Yeah, exactly. The trifecta.
Mm. Doesn't get better than that.
It really doesn't.
Trifecta. I like that. I like that. There's some great. Actually, it's one of the things I loved about when I did accounting. I came across words that I had never heard anywhere else.
Such as?
Diminution.
Ooh. Go on.
Permanent diminution in value. What a great term that is, isn't it?
And there's a great term.
Isn't it?
Sounds quite evil, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because of demon?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
not,
okay.
not that kind of demon. Yeah. But that's a great term. There are lots of terms in accounting and bookkeeping that you never hear anywhere else. I mean, no one says amortization
I was thinking of that because you
Or-
said that. I was thinking of
or
amortization.
appreciation or depreciation. No one really says those terms, do they? In normal day-to-day life.
Not that I can think of.
No.
There's lots more, but there. I always remember that one.
Mm.
I can't remember where it was, but it was. I think it was in the accounting standards, way back. But loved that one. That was one of my personal favourites.
Okay.
Any favourite words from when you were...
Get out, Phil.
Just loved an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah.
That's
doesn't?
actually not even a joke. I actually do quite like an Excel spreadsheet. So there is a bit of accountancy still there.
Mm.
The love of Excel.
You can take the man out of accountancy, but
Steady on.
You've hit the nail on the head.
can't take accountancy out the man.
True. That is so true. So back to the point, because we are getting
Slightly
sidetracked.
sidetracked there, yeah.
So-
Yep.
Beanies is the name of the community.
It is.
The whole purpose of our community is that we may not be working practicing accountants, but we wanted to build a community with accountants and bookkeepers for accountants and bookkeepers. So it's not, and the reason it doesn't matter that we're not accountants and bookkeepers is that it's not about us. we build products and we build bots and we do things for the bookkeeping and accounting sector and for practices and firms. And that's really why we wanted to start the community, because we wanted to get closer to the folks out there that we're building products for. The way that we wanted, the best way for us to get close was to build a community so that we can engage with them frequently, often, and in many different ways as possible. They get to know us, we get to know them. We can help shape the future of their work, provide them with better technologies that makes their lives better. Our trying to think what our sort of brand vision is: making work better for everyone, for people, profit, and planet. So that's the benefit, and that extends into what we're trying to do with the community. So there's a few things coming up where we're going to be. This is one of them. There's Accountex, and then there's DAS, and this is our first foray into really mixing among our community, right?
It is, yeah.
Potential community members, people who aren't members yet, people who might be, but then might decide, no, that's rubbish and it's not for me, and others that will love it, and we'll find all sorts. But this is the first of many things where we're going to be engaging with everybody. So this is quite exciting times.
It is very exciting times. Obviously, Accountex is the big one coming up.
Yeah.
What's that, like a week away now?
Next
2 weeks away.
2 weeks,
2
yeah,
weeks.
because...
Oh, God.
Yeah, well, from when this episode goes up, a week.
Yeah.
Okay.
But from now, point of recording, 2 weeks.
Okay.
So-
So that's while we're on the subject then. Accountex.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting
Mm.
because I've heard
And you ever been?
contrasting views. I haven't ever been.
Okay.
I've heard contrasting views. I've heard people say that it's just a convention that you feel like you have to go to because everyone goes to. Not necessarily because you want to, but you feel like you have to.
Right.
But like
I've
Christmas
also-
with the family then.
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. But then I've also heard people say that it's a really good event. They always have fun. So
Is that people who work at Accountex?
no,
Okay. I've been
that's some
cynical.
accountants that we've spoken to.
Okay.
So it's a bit of a mixed bag. So it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see what our take is on
Yeah.
it.
Our first entry into the wider community,
Mm.
at least in person.
And the industry.
Yeah,
Really immersed.
Mm.
Because we've worked with the industry for a while, but we haven't really immersed ourselves in. This is the start.
no, we've sort
This
of
is the
been
plunge.
on the edge looking in, but not quite getting involved.
No. We dipped our toes, but
Yeah. Now it's
Accountex
now-
time
is
to
a
go.
full splash.
Now
isn't
we've got to
it?
go in.
It is. So Accountex, we looked at all the different attendees, participants, presenters.
Yeah, exhibitions,
Exhibitions,
speakers,
a lot.
Yeah. There's a lot of them.
the
There
sort
was.
of the general.
Back to this good old spreadsheet, right? So we,
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I did in fact create a spreadsheet with all of these on.
There's a spreadsheet.
It was lovely. There was some VLOOKUPs in there.
VLOOKUPs. You know, you don't need VLOOKUPs anymore, right?
Well, yeah,
Anyway.
because you showed me that when we were doing it, but
Yeah, you're right. But when we looked at over the 2 days and all the hundreds, or maybe thousands of people are going, and all the different companies, it was hard to know what we were going to set out to achieve.
Mm.
Because it's very easy to go to a big place like that. There's going to be 5,000-6,000 people
there's going to be
Yeah.
more.
incredible amounts of attendees, and then also just the amount of stands in the exhibit hall, because the Excel's it's a big place,
Yeah.
and there were a lot of smaller stands as well. So to to go there with no sort of plan and no real idea would have been crazy.
Crazy, Phil.
And also just the amount of speakers, because they've got I think there's 13 stages. It's 13 or 12.
Yeah.
I can't remember completely off the top of my head.
Now,
but-
unfortunately, we're not speaking this
We're
year.
not,
We
no.
missed the cut-off, and there may be a last-minute cancellation. We might
We're on the waiting list,
be on the waiting list.
so we'll see. But
But
probably
we're not
not.
expecting to be.
No.
We're ready to go if need
Oh,
be.
we are.
Lots
Ready,
of those.
willing, and able. If the need should arise, but not planning to be. But when we looked at that massive list, like I said to you guys, well, what are we going to do? Because the whole plan was, there's going to be a lot of people there, but there's going to be there's something like 40,000 accounting firms in the UK. There's no way that most of those are not going to be there, right? So we wanted if we were going to go there to represent the community, even if you're there, you're not going to see everything.
No.
So we wanted to do two things, didn't we? We wanted to capture bits that people are there that missed, because you can't go to everything. It's a constant flow of events gone at the same time
Yeah, that's the problem.
throughout the 2 days. So you can only go to maybe 5 or 6 things in 2 days, literally, with some stands as well. You're not going to get much more in. And then there's loads of people who are going to be hard at work still, who are going to miss the event altogether. So we thought, well, what could we do that would be valuable for those two types of people? And then maybe some casual around the edge observers as well,
Yeah.
sort of interested, but not as interested as we are. And we started thinking, well, one really good way would be if we could do interviews. We thought about, well, maybe we could do some interviews. Maybe we can get to some of these events, the presentations, the workshops. But that's all great. But with all those many, we've got to pick the ones we're going to go to, because there's only 3 of us.
Yeah.
But one thing I really want to do when we get there is talk to some people.
Yeah.
That's going to be the best. That's what it's all about, really, isn't it? It's getting
For me, I think the
people.
most important thing is to actually talk to people and capture that. So I want to do some interviews. And as I looked through all the list of different things, and you look at all the companies and the themes and the topics that came out for me the most, sustainability was quite high. Mental, I think fitness, health, come out a lot. And general, I guess, probably recruitment, skills, training, learning, Gen Z seems to come up
a lot
quite
of
a lot.
practice-based
Yeah,
sort of
there's
things,
a lot of
isn't it?
practice-based stuff.
Which obviously makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you had automation and AI. We've had ChatGPT just non-stop on every single channel for the last 4 weeks. So we know
Everyone's
that's
jumping on the bandwagon.
everyone's
got AI.
interested.
They are.
Not everyone, but
Most people.
I'd say 90% of people are.
yeah. And that gets bumped in with automation because
Mm.
most people don't see the difference. So you got that. You said you got the practice management.
Yeah.
That was a massive element of it, as it should be, as you said. What else? People, culture, generally. Sustainability, mental health. I think that's everything, right? So
Yeah.
when I looked at it, I thought, well, that's really good topics. And they also really closely align with what we want to do in the community. And we've actually now taken those themes into our community, right?
We have. They are. Well, the way it works is we have some groups set up that people can basically join, and depending on what groups you join will depend on the content that we notify you of. Basically, we'll send a message out into those groups and be like, if you're on the sustainability group, for example, if we put a podcast episode up or something that's sustainability related, put a little message in that group.
Okay.
Some nice sustainability content has gone live. Please
Mm.
jump over to the homepage and have a look.
So we're going to be doing interviews, talking to people, going to the various different events in order to cover all those different topics as much as we can. And the reason I really want to do that is there's a few things on there. I mean, I definitely want to learn more about practice management. I want to have some really useful conversations with people. I want to learn a lot about practice management. I want to understand more about their challenges, their aspirations, from starting a practice to growing it, scaling it, exiting and selling it, merging, acquiring another one, all that kind of stuff. I want to learn all about that. I'm not obviously going to do that in 2 days, but I want to start.
Good starting point, yeah.
And so that's a selfish interest, I guess, from one point of view. The other two, though, there's two that I really want to get to grips with. One is sustainability, and the reason is I've looked at this before from a company point of view, from our company's point of view, and I do find it slightly hard knowing what will actually make a difference that we can do as a business. And it is a little bit confusing. A lot of things end up being too expensive, too time consuming, not enough people, not enough resource. So I just want to get to the bottom. I want to talk to some people in terms of what are they actually doing in their business. And it does having a tree planted every time you sign a deal or close a journal or something, does that actually make a difference? How does it work in practice? What are the other options? What are other people doing? Because I just, as a business owner, I want to see what everyone else is doing. I really want to learn from them and actually share my perspectives and see if I'm not alone.
Yeah, that will be interesting to see if, when we start asking these questions, are people actually going to have answers, or are they going to be like, oh, actually, I kind of had the same question, so I'm not really sure.
But we will have a manifesto.
And
Because we will go there
have
with
a
questions.
manifesto.
But if we don't come back with answers, then we shall keep going until we get answers, and we shall share that with the community.
We'll get you those answers. Do not worry about that. The answers are coming.
We shall be like a prime minister on a maths binge. We will not give in until we're done, right? So that's the one. The other one, mental fitness and mental health.
Yeah.
Because again, this is another area where you think it's simple and do these things and do that things and don't do these things and that, but actually I think it's a lot more complicated than that. And on a practical level, I think mental health is one thing, and that's way beyond my capabilities to deal with. Mental fitness, on the other hand, a bit like going to the gym. We all go, or not we all, but a lot of people go to the gym to work on their physical fitness. But where do we go to work on our mental fitness? What do we do? How often do we do it? What should we do? What should we not do? That's actually really what I want to get to, because for me it's more about a happy, fulfilled life and prevention of mental health conditions. Because once it goes to mental health, I mean, you're into professional levels of help beyond our capability. But
Right.
I think we've got to do everything we can to avoid getting to that point. In long hours, stressful situations, the general environment and the world we live in, commuting, not commuting, all these. There's so many things that all add up. And I'd just like to say, I go in there with questions. I want to ask people there what they perceive, what they're doing about it, what they understand by it. I want to see the level of understanding from the community.
Yeah, and I think also it's obviously a very important in the accountancy space anyway, because you can get really the way your time sort of works, I suppose, is you get really built up at the end of months or at the start of months with closing, opening and closing periods, and that can be like a lot of stress. So what can you actually do to minimise that and stuff like that? That's all mental health based, isn't it, I suppose? So it'd be interesting just to see what do other practices do? Do they actually do anything, or they're just like, for 2 to 3 weeks of
you're just
I'm just going to be
horrible
stressed
time.
as hell and not sleep, and I just have to make sure everything's closed. Like, is that what they do, or?
See what techniques, methods people developed over the years.
Exactly. If any.
If any. That's the thing.
That's the thing.
Yeah, we used to just go and get drunk.
Get all your work done.
Yeah.
Once it's done.
An effective method, maybe not.
Works for some.
We never used to be, that was the thing, we never really did much. When I was coming up and training, I used to work at, I won't say the name of the company, the last big US corporation I worked for. And quarter ends, because it's a US rapid filer, so you would be closing the books quickly every quarter. Several $1 billion worth of business you'd be closing in the space of a few days. But then, of course, all the review work always takes longer. So, you'd have like 10 days of basically not going home. That was the norm. And there was really no support. There was no network. There wasn't even an acknowledgement of stress, to be honest with you.
That was just your job.
Yeah, you just worked until you either succeeded and got it done or broke. And most people just carried on, get on with it. But you don't really see, that's the thing with mental fit, you don't really see necessarily always see the physical.
You don't see the cracks behind.
No, you don't. You don't.
People seem fine, but then it's...
I think by the time you start seeing it, it's probably too late.
Probably.
Like
So
if
anyway,
they're
that's
that-
one
yeah.
thing. I definitely want to get into that. Automation and AI, well, we're
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
going to be all over that one.
Kind
It's
of,
right
kind of
up our
experts in that field.
Okay, we've done a bit. We've
Dabbled,
done this and
dabbled,
that.
dabbled.
We've done this and that. But ChatGPT is everywhere at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
And
AI
so
is big.
when we've done 2 webinars over the last 2 weeks, all about AI and specifically ChatGPT and how accountants can use it. So we'll and at DAS we've actually got a demo, so we can
We have.
we've incorporated the how to use ChatGPT into the demo, so people can see firsthand some things that you can do with it. And we'll explore some of the options with that. But people and culture, and being interested in that sort of leads into the practice part and practice management. But also there's an overlap there as well, because when you bring in automation and AI, that has a people impact, maybe an impact on mental fitness and health. sustainability. So it's all really, they're all connected anyway for me in multiple ways. So I'm looking forward to tying all those things together and digging under the surface and talking to as many people as we can and capturing it and then disseminating it, sharing it with the community through the community the community portal, through the app.
Yeah, we're going to put all the interviews on there, the breakdowns of the talks that we go to, any sort of funny little bits that happen, bloopers, I guess is the word for that maybe, behind the scenes stuff, just basically capturing the 2 days, putting it into nice little bite-sized chunks for you to enjoy, and it will all be there on the community. Or not to. Yeah, you might go on and be like, I hate it.
Good.
I
Tell
hope
us.
you don't, but
If
yeah,
you do hate
if you do
it,
though, tell us, because otherwise it's just going to keep going. I hate it. Well, tell me then, or you're just going to get more of it.
Like,
Yeah. What we need is a down,
no.
but like a double down.
A double down.
Yeah. A double down.
I really hate it.
2 thumbs down. Not like Jimmy Cranky, Fan Dabby Dozy, but Fan Dabby Nosy. That's what we need.
Don't think we
Do
have
you
that
know who that
feature.
is?
No, I don't know who that is.
You
No.
don't know what I'm talking about either, do you? A lot of people watching this might. It's my sort of age group.
Okay.
They'll know who Jimmy Cranky is. And Fan Dabby Dozy, or I could crush a grape, all that kind of stuff.
Your face. Excuse me.
Jimmy could crush a grape, did you say?
YouTube it. Honestly, Gen Zs.
Don't know if I want it. It sounds a bit dodgy, that one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Might leave that
When
one.
you said Jimmy in an old TV show.
Oh,
I'm a bit-
no, okay. Like, I'm just going to
No.
stop you right there. That's...
Okay. Oh,
Let's just... I've
You
been
got
waiting.
the first one.
I've been waiting just for the moment to hit that, and I think that was it.
God.
You're not getting the applause for that one.
No.
Moving swiftly onwards.
thank you.
Back to this podcast then. Beanies in a Pod. When we said, when we came up with the idea of doing a podcast, I guess probably like most people, you think, wow, are we doing that because we feel we should? Because
Yeah.
Because everyone has a podcast.
yeah, exactly. And to be honest with you, a lot of the stuff, and I've looked at a lot of them, and
We all have, haven't we? We've all done quite a bit of research into the equipment and
Not
what's
just the
currently
equipment,
out there.
but the reason, the purpose, I think, is
So I suppose that was the first question we asked ourselves, wasn't it? Are we doing this because we want to and we think it's going to add value, not just to us, but to the people that are going to listen? Or are we just doing it because Bob from down the road does a podcast, Steve from over there does a podcast, like we need to have a podcast? And I think pretty quickly we were like, we want to do it because it's going to add value, and also just because we'll enjoy it, I think, which is a key
That's the key.
element.
we want this to be valuable. I mean, this is the first one, so I think the format is going to be slightly. The ones
It's
going
going to
forward
be
will
very
slightly
different.
So there's a few things we decided we wanted to do.
We did.
First and foremost, this has got to be fun. So if it's fun for us, hopefully, it's fun for other people watching and listening.
Again,
That's the
if
thing.
it's not, tell us.
If it's, oh, sorry, you'll have to bleep that. If it's that, tell us. If you don't like this, if you want us to go in a different direction, but we didn't want this to be just another boring. No offense to anybody, we didn't want this to just be another run-of-the-mill format, cooker-cutty style, doing the same things. We wanted to be this different. So we are doing this with accountants, for accountants. So
We
we're
are.
going to have guests on who either are accountants in practice, and we want to hear their story. So we want to
We do.
share their story. I'm interested, to be honest with you. I'm just interested in knowing people's stories. There's loads of people that we've met and talked to. We've got partners who are firms, and they've got some really fascinating stories. How they came to be where they are today, what they're doing next, whether they go off and do flamenco dancing every night or whatever. But there's some really interesting, brilliant people, and I want to talk to more of them and get to know their story, and I want to share that again with the community. And that's really important. So it'll either be accountants or it'll be people who have something of value to accountants. They have another story. So, there's some VCs and some investors that I know that I'd like to invite on and, have some good debate and get some things going there. There's people in technology space. There's people in lots of areas, really. We actually came up with a sort of a preliminary list, didn't you, of possible names of different people.
We've got some people lined up. You don't know yet. You might be on the list, and we haven't mentioned it yet. But we've got people lined up. But I think
I know
some
people
good
who know
guests.
people.
Yeah, we know some people actually. It's got some interesting guests, definitely. But yeah, the format is going to be vastly different than this one. This is just sort of an introductory episode, like
the onboarding call.
Hello and welcome to Beanies in a Pod onboarding.
Sounds terrible. The other thing I really want us to try and, if we can achieve this, and it's really hard because the natural human tendency is to do the opposite, and a lot of times, and especially with accountants, no offence again, but they're a conservative kind of bunch, right?
Okay.
But I want, and I'm not saying they're not, but I want us to really focus on having a positive can-do approach to stuff, because it's very easy, right? They take ChatGPT and automation. It's very easy to think about the negative. It's really think about, well, there's job losses. It's going to, have implications on practices and all the negative side. It's very easy to automatically think about the downsides. But I want to try and see we can always come forward with a more positive can-do. So yes, there's always going to be negative side. We almost don't need to highlight them because people are always going to think about the negative side of anything that we come up with. What we try and do is, how do we make this work? So what are the guardrails? What are the things to do? The things to make it successful? So we always want to try and approach it from a successful outcome perspective, because it's too easy to just focus on the negative. So that's the sort of my guiding rules, if you like. It's got to be fun. It's got to be for accountants, with accountants, and it's got to be positive. That's really it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
There are a few things I would like to do each time we do a podcast.
Okay.
Here we go.
Go on.
Sections.
What?
I'm ready.
Brilliant.
Have I got a drum roll? No, that's not a drum roll.
Phil,
but
you are wasted here.
Yeah.
Get out.
Ouch.
No, there's a few things I want to do. We all like food and drink.
We do.
One of the things I want to do, each one. This is probably going to be terrible for the mics.
Don't get any eating noises into the mics, because that is a pet hate of a lot of people.
Yeah, this isn't an ASMR podcast.
They can join us
could
in.
be.
They can join us though, right? So the one thing I want to do, I want to bring a new food item every podcast.
Okay.
Something I've never seen before or haven't had since I was a kid.
Okay, right. I was going to say.
And we're going to try something different every time.
Mm.
It could be chili salted caramel insects one week. It could be
detrimental to the rest of the episode.
anything
that
at
one.
all. Could be anything. This week, first one, I picked two actually. I won't do two every time. But I picked two things
Spoil.
from my distant past. And I haven't had one of these in probably 30-something years.
Wow.
If not a bit more. I didn't even know they still made these.
Really?
Yeah. The humble wagon wheel.
Is that a normal wagon wheel, or is that some sort of
Yeah, that's the jam one, right?
It's-
The original is...
Jam was the original.
Was it?
Yeah.
I thought it was just the marshmallowiness
Yeah.
inside.
No.
That's the red packet one's the only one I...
Well, there was only one flavour. there was two options with wagon wheel. Most things, to be honest with you,
You had
in
one
my
or you
age,
didn't.
you could take it or leave it.
Are those squishies as well?
Right, so
They are. I know that packet anywhere.
one wagon wheel for you,
Thank you.
one
Thank
for
you.
you. And what I'd actually like to do, there's one we actually get people who follow and actually listen to this. I'd love to get people's suggestions for, you should try.
Oh.
So basically what you're saying now is we need to make sure that we never mention ever if we don't like something, because
Yeah.
it will immediately come up.
The wagon wheel. Gentlemen, wagons at the ready. This is going to be possibly one of the most luxurious experiences of your life. You may never be the same again. Cheers. Good, right?
It's good. Yeah.
It's definitely a wagon wheel.
Thank you for the
Danny's the
in-depth
first.
analysis.
Danny's the first wagon wheel I've had in over 30 years.
That is crazy.
So there's that. And another thing I hadn't had in probably closer to 40 years was drumsticks.
I love these.
Oh, you had these?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
These were a staple at uni.
Oh, okay.
Doing a long session at the library, get the squashies in.
Okay.
Don't look at me like that. It's not dirty. It's him over there glaring at me.
I know we said we wouldn't mention things we don't like, but I'm actually not a big fan of squashies.
I am but a rose between two thorns.
You can leave now if you'd like.
Oh.
Two in the same pod. It's not good.
These are lovely.
It's not. It's actually not.
I'm more of a Haribo man. These are alright, but
These are lovely.
That's the squashy for you right there.
He's milking that.
it's too much power being able to do that.
So you
Both of those.
Thumbs up or
incredible.
thumbs down for the-
Both thumbs up for both.
It's a thumbs up. I'll give it a thumbs up.
You're going to give them a thumbs up, are you? Even though you're not a fan.
It's very
Yeah.
gracious. It's very gracious of you.
Like if I was picking up snacks, that's not.
I mean, what we really want on this podcast is honesty. And I'm not really sure that you're being truthfully honest, that you give those a thumbs up.
Wow.
I think that's a thumbs down for you.
He's going in on you there.
I left my opinion.
Shots fired.
Just like wagon wheels back in the day, take it or leave it.
Oh, all right. Shots fired at wagon wheels as well.
Wow.
Didn't get to the jam in mine. I don't know if that would have made a difference, but
Yeah,
I liked
I
it
know.
anyway, so...
It was good. It was good. It's as good as I remember. And which is weird because sometimes when you try something you haven't done in years and years and years, it's never as good.
Yeah. They're probably a lot bigger when you had them before, weren't they?
Well, I was a lot smaller, so
But they've generally shrunk anyway, haven't they, candies?
Yeah, they typically
Have
make
they?
them smaller.
Yeah. They were probably like this big before.
I don't think so, Phil.
I bet if you looked it up, they were a lot bigger. Honestly.
Probably, but most things have done that, haven't they? It was like
Yeah.
they've done that with like alcohol as well. It was something like was it
How dare they.
330 mils, and then it just reduced it to 300 mil, and they
Really?
kept the same price. And they loads of things have done that in bottled drinks, and
Oh.
yeah, that's been done. It's been done. I mean, accountants will know that because they were
Yeah.
the ones that calculated this is if we do this, we can
More
get an
tax
extra
effective.
15% out of the profit margins.
We do need a camera just on your face at all times, because every time Daniel's saying something, you'll say they're like, what? What?
Okay.
But that's why you're on here as well, because you represent sort of the Gen
The
Z.
different- oh, we have got the three different.
Yeah, we've got
We have,
three
yeah.
different generations.
Gen Z, millennial, and
Ancient.
I was going to say old, and I was like, no, that's too offensive. But, yeah.
Yeah, you have to remember about my generation. We don't generally offend easily.
No, BC.
We generally cause offence as opposed to being offended, and it's a wonderful thing. You should try it. But no, you don't. You won't offend me. I am old, and I'm fine with that. With age comes wisdom. Sometimes. Sometimes. So, hopefully, we're going to see some people at Accountex or DAS or both.
Yeah.
Is this going out before?
It's going out a week before Accountex, yes.
Okay, so we probably won't see that many people would have seen this by then, but just on the off chance, if you've seen this and you're at
Ooh.
one of those events and you see us, please ignore us. We won't
No,
be offended.
let's-
No, come over and say hi, and let's talk about accounting practice, automation and AI, sustainability, mental health, all of those things or none of those things. And just come and say hello.
Let's give them a phrase to say to us that if they've watched this podcast episode or they've listened to this podcast episode,
I like that.
they can tell us, and we'll give them a very special VIB
Ooh.
T-shirt.
VIB, very important beanie.
Exactly.
Like it. So, should we
What's
go
the
with wagon wheel
phrase?
or squashy?
I think we go with Aaron hates squashies. If you come up and tell us
Right.
that Aaron hates squashies, you can have a T-shirt.
That was my accountant calling, and I'm not joking. that actually was my accountant phoning.
one of the guests on the podcast will have a go at her when she comes on.
Yeah.
Although it's your fault for not having your phone on silent.
Thank you, Phil.
But there we go.
There we go.
So, Aaron hates squashies at either DAS or Accountex, and
Get
we'll
yourself
sort you out with a lovely t-shirt.